After helping hundreds of men going through unwanted separation or divorce recover and move on, I have learned a few things about divorce, and I'll tell you some of them were really shocking to me in the beginning. We're going to talk about the truth about divorce for men, and this is specifically for men because you guys, the suicide rate for divorced men is 9 times higher. 9 times higher than it is for the general population. And that is one of the things that I've learned about divorce, especially for men. When it is an unwanted divorce, you guys, it is serious. And we need to not underestimate that and not take it lightly. There is a lot that you can do to heal, but we have to fully understand the problem and we have to face the facts in order to help you heal. So if you're going through a divorce or a separation that you don't want, please hang out with me to the end of this video. We're going to look at some things that are hard to face, but they are going to lead us to the answer to what we actually need to do to make sure that you don't become another one of those statistics. Okay, so the first fact that we need to face is that divorce is not just a disruptive life event. An unwanted separation or divorce is multiple disruptive life events. It's losing a loved one, often losing children or temporarily or part-time losing children, financial uncertainty, losing a home, isolation from friends and family. Right? Any one of those things is considered a disruptive life event. And disruptive life events put the human nervous system into a fight or flight response. And all that means is that they make us feel afraid, anxious, or angry. Right? So if you're recognizing fear, anxiety, or anger in yourself, that means you're going through a fight or flight response, which is the normal human reaction to a disruptive life event. But you're not dealing with a disruptive life event. You're dealing with 3 or 4 or 5 disruptive life events all at the same time in the form of your divorce. You may also notice symptoms of being in a different nervous system state in freeze. If you're feeling depressed, hopeless, or despair, those are signs that you're in freeze. So fight or flight is anxiety, fear, and anger. Freeze is hopelessness, despair, and depression. And all that freeze is that you've been in fight or flight and your brain's looking around and going, holy smokes, there's nothing I can do to fix this. I'm trapped. I can't change it. And so it changes its strategy. I can't fight. There's nowhere to run. So I'm just going to shut down. And hopefully we stay alive long enough for things to get better. Right? That's a freeze state. You are not going to be able to avoid these states, right? If you're going through an unwanted separation or divorce, your nervous system is going to go there because you don't feel safe because of these disruptive life events. This is not optional. It is not something you can consciously control or decide isn't going to happen. It's going to happen. I have at this point worked with over 400 men going through this. I've talked to thousands of men. You guys, 50% of them, 50% tell me they have suicidal thoughts. Right? How many of them are not even admitting it? These nervous system states are inevitable when you go through divorce. Now we're going to look at another fact, and it's a little scary too. And you guys, I promise you, I'm not telling you this to frighten you. This is, looking at these facts is like, have you ever cut yourself like pretty badly and you know it's bad? And as soon as you cut yourself, like you grab a shirt or a rag and you just put it over the injury and you don't want to look, right? It's like, oh, I'll just hold this there and we won't look. But you have to look. Right? Because you don't know if you need stitches. You don't know how bad it is until you take the rag off and you actually look and see how deep the wound is. That's what we're doing. Right? We are looking at the facts, looking at the hard, scary, bloody facts so that we know what we need to do to help you heal. And I promise you at the end of this video, you are going to understand exactly what you need to do to get through this, to be okay. But first, we have to understand that this divorce is going to put you into a fight or flight or freeze response over and over and over again, okay? The second fact is when you are in a fight or flight response, there are very specific changes that are going to happen in your brain, and they are going to inhibit your ability to have healthy relationships. And I'm not just talking about dating or moving on with a new partner. I am talking about your relationship with your kids, your relationship with your coworkers or your boss or your employees or your customers, your relationship with friends and family. Fight or flight is also going to create changes in your brain that impact your sleep and your executive functioning abilities. Right? There are a lot of studies out there that show us that when we're in fight or flight, the executive functioning, really thinking parts of our brain go offline. And you right now have to make some pretty big executive functioning brain decisions, right? Around your finances, around the custody of your kids, what your future is going to look like, right? The choices you make now are going to impact the rest of your life. You don't want that executive functioning part of your brain to be offline. And fight or flight also inhibits our relational abilities. It hypersensitizes us to the threat. And you might notice, do you have, ruminating thoughts about your ex-wife, or you find she just comes into your brain all the time? Maybe you have these remembered conversations with her, or these fantasies of the conversations, the things that you're gonna say to her. You might have images of her having sex with somebody else. If your brain is always thinking about her, that's part of fight or flight. It's because it makes you hyper-focused on the problem, on the danger, which in this case is her. And at the same time, it is decreasing your ability to interpret basic human body language, changes in tone of voice, eye contact, which means that you literally start to lose the ability to understand and accurately interpret what people are saying to you. Right? So you can see how very, very quickly all of these physiologic impacts, right? This is not a mental issue. You guys, fight or flight happens in the body. In the whole body, right? Blood is leaving the digestive system. It's going to the skeletal muscle. There's changes in the inner ear. There's changes in the brain. This is a physiologic full body response, and it is impacting every area of your life. Okay, so we have to face these two facts. It's really, really important that you know them. Divorce is going to put you into fight or flight, and being in fight or flight is not helping you. Right? It is bad for so many aspects of your life, especially considering what you have to deal with right now. So this brings us to a very important question. How can you expect to get your ex-wife out of your thoughts, or to deal with the legal process, or to be a present father for your children, or to ever date or engage in a new relationship, or do well at work, or sleep through the night? How can you expect to function in your life as you go through divorce without effective nervous system regulation skills? And the answer to that question, you guys, is that you cannot. If you do not have the skill set that you need to effectively regulate your nervous system, to get out of fight or flight, to get out of freeze when you're in it, you are not going to be able to navigate this well. And the reason that I'm asking you to look at these scary facts is because you need to understand this. This has to be your number one priority: nervous system regulation, figuring out how to get yourself out of that fight or flight response, because everything else in your life is going to be impacted by it. Okay, so how do you do this? Because I have made an entire 75-minute masterclass that talks about how to effectively regulate your nervous system. It's going to walk you through exactly what that looks like so that you understand what you really need to do to get out of fight or flight, to get out of a freeze response and back to a calm, grounded, functioning nervous system, so that you can make good legal decisions, so that you can be present for your kids, so that you can stop thinking about your ex-wife, so you can sleep, so you can eat, so you can exercise, so you can show up at work, right? So you can function in your daily life, and also so that you can eventually move forward and have healthy relationships in the future. So please, if you are going through an unwanted separation or divorce, come watch this masterclass with me. You don't have to work with me. You don't have to be one of my clients or join me in this program, but you do need to get your nervous system regulated. You need to get out of fight or flight. You need to get out of freeze. Because if you don't, best case scenario is that this is going to be really rough and really messy, and you're probably going to lose a lot of money and damage some of your relationships. And the worst case scenario is that you're going to end up another one of those awful suicide statistics. It happens to a lot of men. And I really, really do not want any of those outcomes for you. So come with me into the masterclass and let's talk about the nitty-gritty details about how to get you out of fight or flight, how to regulate that nervous system. All right, guys, thank you for watching. I look forward to seeing you in the masterclass.